Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Wingers and Defenders. Today we'll be previewing the FA Cup semifinal fixture of Man United and Chelsea. And today we have a friend, Tommy here. He's from Steelers chat with Jake and I, and also a football chat. So, hi Tommy.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm a United fan, so this season has been a roller coaster. But no, I'm glad to be on Wingers and Defenders. I actually pretty enjoy it. I watch it on my free time, so I'm glad I could be on.
Well, thank you for watching. And so let's start off. So, what do you think of Man United this season? I mean, we saw them improve a lot since they've gotten Bruno Fernandes and since Pogba's come back. So, how's the season been going from you as a fan's perspective?
Definitely, I would definitely say it's been up and down, but it showed like what we definitely do need is consistency and to cut out on dumb mistakes. Like, for example, like it also showed like you said. I consider it two seasons pretty much, pre Bruno and post Bruno. Like you see, before we got Bruno, teams defended us by just packing the back. Like that's all they did. They would just sit there because they know they didn't have anyone to play that killer ball anytime Rashford or Martial made a run. And like Pogba was that player. Like he was great. He could do that. But at the same time, he's been injured, and also like he has to do so much in that midfield. Like Fred has been on the up, but still before then, Pogba would have to drop back to get the ball from Maguire or Lindelof for the center backs, and then also sprint how many yards and look for a ball. So that was always like I could like just kill all the energy you have. And then as soon as we got Bruno, you saw like a player who has that eye for the pass, who can even get in on the goals himself, and who just that creative attacking midfielder is exactly what we needed for a while. But like it's not all roses. Like it's not all roses, not all sunshine. Because you can see we still need help. Like our team is still like shambolic sometimes. Like once Bruno and Pogba go off, there's no creativity whatsoever on that team. Like McTominay does like a method type job, but more like agile and stuff. So that's appreciated. But Fred just doesn't create enough. Lingard should be in the MLS. Andres Pereira Andres Pereira should be in this Zoom in with us because he's not good enough to be playing for a professional team. He should be in here with us discussing it. And again, like Luke Shaw, he's been pretty decent for this current streak we're on, but at the same time, he's not reliable long term. Like, he's better as a backup. Personally, right now, I'll take Brandon Williams over Luke Shaw. But it's just that Brandon Williams is like 18, 19, so he's bound to make those dumb mistakes. And like, but yeah, this year as a whole, like it's had its positives, but at the same time, you can still see the glaring holes and negatives that we still need to fix. Because in my opinion, we still need to get a pretty good CDM. We signed Magic to a new contract, but he's like 33, and we can't rely. Like Magic turns like Windows Vista loads, just so slow, and I just can't be bothered to watch that anymore. But overall, I guess Ole's at the wheel, man. We're gonna have to stick with that for the time being right now. Yeah.
For sure, they really have improved, like you said, and like with pre Bruno and now post Bruno with him. And Christian, I know you're a Liverpool fan. You're rivals with Man United. What's your opinion on Man United revival?
Yeah, a lot of what he just said, I personally agree with. I remember, especially like in the Christmas period in that kind of area, it was really reliant on like Greenwood even coming off the bench and creating some magic. Brendan Williams had one great goal, like I've said on previous podcasts against Sheffield United in the reverse fixture. There was a lot of times where it was just really reliant on sneaking a goal in at the end of the game to get 3 points or get a draw. And now you're seeing, besides the Southampton game, which had its own issues, they've been really dominant in games since the project restart. Even especially against Norwich when they sat and packed in. United had 38 shots. Like it in that game at some point. It's just incredible to see the difference in one team based off of one player. Obviously, Pogba's come back, so it's really two. But without Bruno in there, you would probably be playing Lingard as the guy behind Martial, so it would be a significant difference, not a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that it's remarkable to see how much Bruno's changed this team because Bruno has just been scoring goals, creating passing lanes for other players. It's remarkable to see what this team's done since he's came into the team.
And Jacob?
Yeah, I think we're gonna look back on this like season for Manchester United and really look at how impactful Bruno has been for this club for the next couple of years down the line. You know, I underrated the Bruno signing. I knew he was a good player coming from Sporting in Portugal. I knew he was quality, but I did not think he was gonna have that big of an impact on your club to literally just change the entire direction of your club. And you know, Pogba coming back to compounds like the impact that they both can give. And you guys look scary. Like I don't like wanting to next season. I'm not looking forward to playing you guys. Usually, I look forward to a matchup. Maybe we'll get one in the FA Cup final. I mean, we have to play City, so I mean, but I can dream. But like playing you guys next season can be really scary. That midfield is going to get even better. I think with McTominay coming up, I think is going to be quality. Personally, I think Fred can show consistency at times, even though he has seemed lackluster. But I think he can be a threat. Getting plays off the ball. You know, Greenwood obviously coming up. You know, Martial looking in form, and you know Rashford's always a threat. So, Man U is a scary team going forward, but we have to wonder, like you said, Tommy, consistency. How well can they play against the big teams? How well can they play in like a series of weeks in a row? Can they not just like put 3 results together? Can they make it 5, 6, 7 results? Can they keep doing this? And you know, it's going to be interesting to see the next couple seasons.
For sure. And I think one thing, like as a Spurs fan and just as a fan of Premier League in general, I think United should, at their form right now, could be front runners to win the Premier League next season. And I think we've seen their offense pick up so much that they're slotting goals in and out every single game. And I think that in episode 4 of Wingers and Defenders, we were talking about Chelsea and Kai Havertz. What's going to happen when they get him, and where is he going to fit into their offense, and how they're just trying to score loads of goals. Well, United isn't trying to fit anyone else in there. They have everyone that needs. Well, maybe they're trying to fit Jadon Sancho in there. That's for another time though. And they're scoring loads of goals as well. And I mean, it's going to be tough to outscore United, especially when they have such creativity in the midfield. You got Bruno, you have Pogba, who are just world-class players, and they just find everyone everywhere and just find and create chances out of nothing when you don't think there is. You don't think there's a chance for a guy to play a ball in. A great run by Marcus Rashford, and boom, Pogba hits him right on the laces, and it's an easy goal. So I think Man United is primed for a great year next year, and I mean, the Premier League should be scared, and United fans should be happy.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Like, but that's my thing. Like, again, like you were saying, consistency, and also like once like let's say injury happened. Like, remember when Martial and Pogba were out before we got Bruno? We relied so heavy on Rashford. It was ridiculous. Like Rashford was. I remember there was a point in time when Rashford led our team in goals and assists, like by miles. It wasn't even close. There wasn't anyone that was close to helping him. I think it was the Tottenham game against the early in the season because Martial wasn't there. Like I watched that game and I was just so like I was baffled by how much Rashford had to do. He had to drop back, pick it up, dribble, cut inside, and that's always been my biggest criticism of Rashford. Like he takes ill-advised shots sometimes. He tries to force shots, but this season, like I couldn't even say that because Martial was hurt. Dan James offered absolutely nothing going forward, besides his wayward crosses. Jesse Lingard was just no goals or assists for a whole year. Like you can't. And then Andreas Pereira, the less said about him, the better. So like I hate we can't get into that place where we have to rely on one player solely alone. So that's why my thing is like depth. We need depth. Like whether it's players getting better, like you were saying, Fred showing improvement, McTominay showing improvement, or like even bringing some players through the youth system. Like we have a midfielder, James Gardner. He's like a CM who I like. I really like. I rate. I think he's gonna be good. Like Brandon Williams also, and we also have like a right back who's pretty good going forward in the youth system. So like whether it's promoting youth players or getting in some like cheap, better options, like I do think we can challenge, but we just need to, because once that first team's off, it's just lack of quality. Like if you look at Man City, they can play two different lineups, and both lineups can challenge. Like there was a time where Mahrez couldn't even get a game in because Sane and Sterling were just so amazing. Mahrez couldn't get a game in, or they take off David Silva, bring on Bernardo Silva. So I feel like that's what all the great teams have depth, and that's what I feel like Man U needs the most right now.
Agreed. And now, looking forward, we have the FA Cup semifinal, like we mentioned earlier, against Chelsea. And what are your opinions? And do you have any predictions for that game? Like, how do you feel for that game?
Honestly, I'm one thing you know about me. I'm a pessimistic Man U fan. I don't I don't have high hopes for that much, but I feel like with the way we're playing right now, even with the Southampton game that just passed, I feel like we can get a result. We can definitely get a win, but we're gonna have to cut out individual mistakes. And I'm saying, like, if I'm forced to make a prediction, I will say like a 2-1 us, or I can even see it going to like penalties.
For sure. What about you, Christian?
I certainly agree with that. I think you've seen it in the last couple games, which we just almost all of us watched Chelsea play Norwich against a team that's got nothing to play for now. They struggled. And yes, they didn't create chances. Norwich don't really create chances against anybody, let alone Chelsea. And then even before that, Sheffield United, they were a mess. They lost 3-0 this past weekend. It was just horrible, and they have really struggled. They also showed against West Ham. I think Chelsea's been the more inconsistent team of the two since the project restart, especially. You're looking at them being so reliant on Christian Pulisic, which we all love, and we want him to be successful. But you can only go so far when you're relying on one player on the wing. When the guys you're getting service to, Giroud and stuff, aren't creating enough opportunities for themselves. I think I see something more like 2-1, maybe 3-2, something like that, where both teams make some individual errors. The Chelsea defense, which we've all discussed on this podcast, have been shambolic at times. You've seen almost all of them just play poorly and make individual errors. Kepa, we've called a fraud here. David De Gea has had his own issues, but David De Gea has been more consistent this year than Kepa. It's no denying that. So I think in almost every instance, I think that barring Christian Pulisic having a brace or something, I think United wins this game and gets to the FA Cup final.
Jacob?
Yeah, I was torn on my prediction for this game because I think it'll go to penalties. And then when you get to penalties, honestly, I have no clue who's going to win that. And I usually have a team that I think will win. But when it comes down to penalties, I mean, I guess I'll give the edge to Man U because I feel like Kepa won't save anything. But I think Man U – I'll go Man U winning on penalties. I think maybe you'll go 2-2 probably and then go to penalties, shootout. I think Man U will get to the FA Cup final personally.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on this one too, but I think if we're going to go full strength here, which I could see both teams going, if we go full strength, I think Man United has a much better team, and I think we're less likely to see a De Gea gaff than a
Kepa gaff, yeah.
Kepa gaff, and because of that, with United's front three, and then just add in Pogba and Bruno, like we mentioned before, that's going to overwhelm that poor Chelsea defense, and I could honestly see it getting to 3-1, 4-1 if that's the case.
With the confidence.
So now on to the last topic. Like we did for the North London Derby preview, we're going to do a combined 11 for these teams. So we'll go through each one and then we'll come to a conclusion. I mean, if we're split 2-1, we'll just go to Tommy considering he's the guest and the United fan. So we'll start out at keeper. Tommy?
Definitely De Gea. Like, it's not close. I think Kepa might be the worst starter out of a top six club. Because, oh, my God. Some of the stuff I've seen him do. Oh, my God. Like, he's shambolic.
He's awful.
He's
so bad.
He's a top 15 keeper in the Prem out of 20 teams.
He's so bad.
It's true.
I think we're all in agreement on this one, right?
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
debate.
So right back.
They got this one too.
Yeah, I'm going Basaka. Like Reece James, but Reece James is he's like 21, 22, correct?
Very young, yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Hmm.
he's young, so he's gonna be good for a while. That's another thing. England have a lot of great right backs this
Yeah.
generation, and
Hmm.
none of them are older than like 24, so it's scary. But I'm going with Saka.
Yeah, that's not a debate. I think he's just too quality, very tough to get around. I think he's probably been. I think he might be your best defender this year. I think he's a little better than Maguire personally.
Oh no, listen, he's easily our best defender. You're not gonna hear any debates from me on that. He's our best defender.
Yeah. Christian, who you choose?
Yeah, I agree. I think Azpilicueta's been relatively good so far, and he's the one that's really started at right back for a majority of the season. I think he's made 35 plus appearances, something around there in the league. He's flipped between right back and left back, but I think no questions asked. Aaron Wan-Bissaka has been quality all season. Super young, super athletic, great going back, and I think he's just no question the starting right back in this combined 11.
Jacob?
Yeah, Wan-Bissaka easy, not really debate.
Yeah, he is arguably the second best right back in England. So I agree with you guys on that one. On our center back pairing, Tommy?
All right, see, this one was tough because like they're not neither team has like any center back that you're like wow, like you're just there like wow, is amazing. But I'm gonna have to go maybe like Rudiger and Maguire because like while I do have my strong dislike for Maguire at times, he's definitely solid in the air and he's composed. And Rudiger, he has the pace to keep up with most attackers, the strength to keep up, the strength to like hold off if you try to beat him for pace. He can hold you off with his strength. So like he's a solid center back. So I'm going with Maguire and Rudiger.
Christian?
Yeah, I think that's probably your best two pairings. Certainly, I think the only person I could possibly contend with Rudiger is Tomori. We haven't seen enough of him. I think he's young, and you're looking at Zuma, Christensen. They really haven't found a pairing, which has been a big problem for Chelsea this year. I would go to Tomori in most cases, but I haven't seen enough of him. I think he scored a great goal against Wolves early in the Premier League. But overall, I think you have to go with your two most experienced and two most reliable, one from each team. And I think Maguire and Rudiger are your best two.
Yeah, I think Maguire Rudiger is the obvious pick, in my opinion. Tamori's a decent shout, even though he is young. But I think I think it's the best pairing, personally.
I agree. I think that it's definitely got to be Maguire, Rudiger, and I think Maguire's a good center back. I think that they just overpaid for him. I think he was not worth 80 million. I know when this transfer happened, Jacob and I were talking about it. He's like, they really just paid 80 million for Mustafi. So
They paid 80 million for Chris Smalling with a bigger head. That's exactly what we paid for. He's Chris Smalling with a bigger head.
He's coming back next season too, so I mean, that's
I know. I heard Roma might be trying to make the move permanent, but only for like 20 mil. And like, I don't like Smalling, but 20 mil is too little. Come on.
Yeah, they're gonna need to get more out of that. If they pay 80 for Maguire, they need to get more for central defense. They need more.
Most definitely.
And then to finish off the back line, we're gonna go with left back. Tommy, who would you choose?
I'm definitely gonna ask for a question. Like, there is no and like that may be the easiest position besides goalkeeper to pick because I'm not going Luke Shaw. Brandon Williams too young, and Marcus Alonso, he's not a defender. He's a winger who's slow. So they just put him back there and work for set pieces and stuff. So I'm going to ask for a question with ease.
Christian?
I mean, I honestly think Luke Shaw has been pretty good since this restart. Had his injury concerns, which has really screwed up his career, and he could still get it back. I think. I don't know how old he is. I think he's in his mid-20s.
Yeah, he's 20. He turned 25 like 2 days ago.
Right. So I think there's still some time to get it back, and he's looked pretty good. Started, I think, almost every game besides, or no, he did start against Norwich. It just looked, but yeah, I think Azpilicueta is probably your best pick. Been solid all year, captain for Chelsea. I think I like that as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking Aspilicueta as well, which is out of position as well. He doesn't even play left back, but he's the best of those two teams. I think he's the most experienced probably on this whole pitch, honestly, I think. Um, so I think, yeah, for sure, Aspilicueta is a solid left back pick.
Yeah.
I'd actually go Marcus Alonso personally. I think you have three stronger defenders back, and you could kind of send them up and have put crosses in. But I do understand the pick of Aspilicueta, so we'll go with that one. And by the way, I forgot to mention we're playing a 4-3-3, so four defenders, three midfielders, and then three up top. So we'll move to the midfield now. And Tommy, who would you choose? We'll go. What type of do you want to play? A holding and then two up? Like how do you want to?
Yeah, I'm gonna play two one hold in and like one like sort of like a box to box like ball progression, and then like a guy like he's a center mid, but his main job is just focus on going forward, just focus on attacking.
So let's
And
start off with the holding. Who would you go?
Conte,
Yeah.
like he hasn't had as good a year this year as he's like had in the past, but still like he is quality. Plus like Matic is too old and not like Matic doesn't offer you the energy, the just like playing Conte like playing two CDMs. I mean it's everywhere. I remember that Leicester title winning season. Watching him was just absolutely, it was beautiful. Like as a midfielder, it was just gorgeous to see. I'm going with Conte.
Christian?
Yeah, Conte's the clear pick for me. I think, especially last year when we saw Jorginho playing in that holding mid for Maurizio Sarri, which we can have that discussion for Juventus. But I think that it's clear Conte is world class, one of the best midfielders. Whatever slot you want to put him in, I think he plays well. He's had his injuries problems, but Conte's just too world class to not put in this team.
Yeah, if Conte doesn't have injury problems, he can get into almost any team in the world, I think, personally. And like Tommy said, with the Leicester season, I didn't really enjoy watching defensive midfielders play until I watched N'Golo Conte play. And I actually was entertained watching him actually just chase down men, just take the ball off of them and move the ball, progress the ball forward. Joy to watch, world class, obviously best holding position pick we can use.
Yeah, I'm going Conte as well. That man is an engine. He's a fun guy to root for, and like you said, like that man, he just doesn't stop. Like he just keeps going. He keeps going, and someone as a football fan, it's just fun to watch that.
Honestly.
So moving to our more box to box center mid, Tommy, who are you going with?
This is where my United bias comes in, but I have to go with Pogba. He has his struggles, especially on the defensive side. Like even for the first goal we conceded yesterday against Southampton, he dwelled on the ball too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're like as a box to box midfielder, your job as soon as you get that ball, especially back in front of the goalie, you shift it or you carry it forward straight up. He tried to do too much, and that's always been his problem. He would dwell on the ball too much and try to do too much. But for all his fault, for just those two faults, I guess, he is amazing. Like he is amazing to watch his passes from deep. I remember the first game back against Tottenham, that pass he gave Rashford just right on the money. And it was from like just outside the box just outside our like his passing is too beautiful. Plus, when he runs with the ball, like he has strength, pace, pace and power. What the commentators love saying about black players, he has pace and power in abundance. So yeah, I'm going with Pogba for this one.
Yeah, I have to certainly agree. I think another pass, which is what at the beginning of the season was the goal against Chelsea. I don't remember what goal it was in that first 4-0 win, but he's sensational when he's at his best. And I think we've said it on the podcast, but if not, he gets into almost every team in the world when healthy. It's no question. He's one of the best box-to-box midfielders in the world. He did it for France. He's doing it for United now. I think there's no chance you can't get him in this team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've said this on a previous Wingers and Defenders episode, but Pogba is one of my favorite players outside of Arsenal. I think if I did a World 11 of like my favorite players, he's probably making that box-to-box midfield position. He's in contention for that. I rate him very highly. Yeah, I think what his only competition on Chelsea is probably Kovacic, probably, or Jorginho. I'm not sure who you would, but
Yeah.
Pogba is clear. I don't really have anything else to say about that. He's proven it. He's a guy that, has been linked to the top clubs in Europe, and then at Manchester United, a top team as well. He's just quality. You can't get him off the ball on his day. He's one of the most dangerous midfielders in the world. And, yeah, I think it's an easy pick.
Yeah, I agree. I really don't think there's really contention in this one. I think Pogba's he's walking into any team in the world, and now he's freed from the shackles of Jose Mourinho, and Ole is letting him play his game.
Yes. Like every day I wake up and I just thank God. Like Jose Mourinho terrorized me for far too long.
He's really a terrorist for a manager, man.
That's your problem now, Joe. That's all you.
Yeah.
And then finally, to round off the midfield, we got our more of an attacking midfielder, Tommy.
Yeah, again, United bias, but like Bruno. Like I try to sit back and try to like from an objective point of view see another attacking midfielder who can do it. Like Ross Barkley, he's not touching Bruno. Jorginho and Kovacic, like was said, they're more box to box, like sit back type players. And I honestly don't like Mason Mount. He's actually impressed me, but like again, I'm not taking him over Bruno. I just can't.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only person he's the second person behind him would be Mason Mount. I think he's been quality. Bruno's been sensational, and Mason Mount's done what he's done coming from Derby with Lampard last year. But yeah, no, Bruno has made too big of an impact, too sensational. He's just doing way too much to not put him as the more attacking midfielder, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was struggling to find. I mean, it's obviously Bruno, but I was struggling to find a cam or like attacking midfielder that could play for Frank, because Frank likes to play like wingers mostly and not really a 10. But yeah, I think even if you try to put Barkley there or Mount, who can play on the left or the right or central, it's Bruno. It's always going to be Bruno. I think even before Bruno came to United, I'd probably still pick Bruno. That's how good he is. That's how quality he is. Probably one of the scariest midfielders if you have to as a defender going up against, and it's going to be scary to see him with Pogba next season, definitely. And it's these Rudiger and whoever else, Christensen, going to have problems next game. Problems.
Yeah, I mean, my Italian bias wants me to put Jorginho in there, but I just can't. I just can't. Bruno's too good. He's an elite player, so he's definitely our attacking midfielder. And then let's move up top to the our attackers. We'll start at left wing.
Left wing. One thing you're gonna learn about me. I run the Rashford fan club. It is me. I'm the number one. I'm the president, the owner, the co-founder. That is me. Rashford can do no wrong in my eyes. So I'm going with Rashford with ease because, like I said, like an underrated part of his game that I've noticed that like he's cut down on the shots and like he has 6 assists. He has 15 goals and 6 assists in the league this season. And that's pretty good. Like he creates more. He sacrifices for the team. He's like I said, he's cut down on the ridiculous shots he takes. Like he has 1 or 2 every now and then, but it's forgivable. But he's so direct and fast. Like his dribbling is beautiful. His pace is scary. Imagine that running at you and then just cutting in or doing that fake shot he loves to do. Get the defender on the floor, then play crossing. So I love everything. Like he's added assists and goals to his game now, and I just think he has to get in here.
Christian?
Yeah, I think I love Rashford. I've said it to so many people, even as a Liverpool fan. I just love him. He's also great off the pitch, doing all the stuff he's doing with meals for people that are not as fortunate. So that's certainly there. I would love to go Rashford. It's close, but I have to go Christian Pulisic here. I think on form, you're looking at somebody that's just saving Chelsea, because if Chelsea weren't using him and he wasn't playing well because he's had his injury issues this year. Mm-hmm. He's been arguably the best player Certainly for Chelsea since the Project Restart. I think Bruno and some other guys are playing a little bit better than him since the Project Restart. But I think Christian Pulisic has been so heavily used for them, and I don't think he's not started a game since Restart besides the first game, which they brought him on, he scored.
Yeah.
I think Rashford's been sensational, and he's probably of the four players when you're looking at Bruno, Rashford, Martial, and Greenwood. Of those four, I think he's been the least productive of the four since Restart. But I mean, it's a high benchmark when you're talking about Greenwood playing the way he is, Martial scoring the goals, Bruno with the assists and goals. I just got to go Pulisic here on form, but it's super, super close.
Yeah, you made this one hard for me. I was really sold on Pulisic, but I'm now getting second thoughts about Rashford because I'm thinking of that partnership. I mean, that Bruno Pogba link up. On top of that, adding Rashford on the left could be a problem. I think I'm going to go Rashford. But Pulisic is literally right there. I mean,
Yeah.
if it wasn't Bruno and Pogba behind them, I'm probably going Pulisic.
Right, yeah.
But like, there's so much chemistry there. I think I have to put Rashford at left wing.
I'd personally go Pulisic just on form. I think he's been insane since coming back. I think he's been probably one of my favorite players to watch since then. But tie goes to the guest, so we're gonna go with Rashford at left wing.
Now I might because Pulisic, like you guys have been right. Pulisic has been. I'm thinking about it, even like from the get go, even before like he had his injury. Like since he came into the team, he's been like I love Pulisic. I always tuned in. I always found Dortmund games, illegal streams or whatever, just so I could watch him play because I really do enjoy watching him play. So honestly, like I wouldn't be mad. Like I'll be fine with Pulisic getting in there at the left wing position. That's perfectly fine with me.
So you guys want to go Pulisic then?
Yep.
All right, go him. And then at our center forward position,
Tammy Abraham started out the season so well, and like if it was he started the season so well and all that stuff, like I would have put him in. But even before COVID happened and the restart, you could see him like slowly slowing down and all that. While Martial was on the up and up. So I don't know. It's a tough thing for me, but I'm gonna have to go with Martial because I feel like Martial, like, I don't want to say has done it longer, but he seems more. I don't say he seems more proven. Like I would go with Martial seems more proven, and to me, Martial has more to his game. I would go with Martial.
Yeah, I agree there. I think Timmy Abraham, started off the year well. People were concerned if he could make the switch from Aston Villa and make the switch and play in the Premier League as a starting striker in a top 6 team that's looking to play in the Champions League. It's kind of interesting to see that Giroud got the 1-year extension. Now he's going to be playing there at 34 years old. But I've gone on record, and I've said it to plenty of people, I think Martial's got the chance to play as the starting forward for France in major competitions. Griezmann's struggling at Barcelona. Giroud has played in their major competitions, but he'll be older. I think there's no question that this recent form has shown that Martial, when playing consistent, is one of the best strikers in the world and definitely in the league, certainly. He definitely just has the ability to finish with both feet. He's super creative. He can just take one touch against Southampton, scores a great goal. He scored his first professional hat trick against Sheffield, I think it was. He had a great chip shot that went over Dean. I think it was Dean Henderson. No, it wouldn't have been Dean Henderson. It was the other goalie. Yeah, but I think Martial is certainly he's on his way to get world class if he's not there yet, and I think no question he goes over at Abraham or Giroud.
Yeah, if we were going by who I liked more, I would pick Tammy because I actually really rate Tammy. And I like him as a player. I think he'll be sick in a couple of years. But if I'm going to be realistic and like the best 11, it has to be Martial. He's too quality to keep off the pitch as a number 9. And, he's going to be a problem for Man U and France. He's going to be a really good player. So, yeah, it's easily Martial for me.
Yeah, I'm going Martial as well. I really like Tammy Abraham. I hope he succeeds. I hope he continues to do well. And but Martial, especially on form right now, he's a clear choice. And then to our final position, which is right wing, Tommy.
Yeah. Originally, my original plan was to have Rashford at the left and Pulisic at right, but I completely forgot William played for Chelsea. Cause like I'm not a William fan. I'll be the first person to tell you I don't like William, but like he does produce. Like times where like Chelsea will need him, he will like his free kick timing. Like he scored. I don't know how he does it. I saw something on Twitter like every time he's like contract winding down, he turned into prime Ronaldinho, and I agree. Like he gets timely goals, and like sure he might only get like 8 goals and a couple assists here and there, but they're all timely and important. So and Greenwood, as much I love Greenwood with my like Greenwood has a special place in my heart. I just have to go with William right now. I have to.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get your argument for Willian. I think some of the goals he scored since the restart have been penalties. He scored one against City that wrapped up that game. I don't know what he scored against West Ham, I believe, from the penalty spot. But I can't go past Greenwood's form. He's been absolutely sensational. 18 years old. He was producing even before Bruno came, and he was getting his time until then. And this is just showing how good this kid's going to be. I think he's got the ability to be, if he's not going to be starting for England, he's going to be right behind Harry Kane in a couple of years. Those kind of guys who are starting for them. He's world class. He's going to be world class. I think there's no way that doesn't happen. And there's people questioning whether Jadon Sancho should even be signed at this point, which rightfully so, because Mason Greenwood has been sensational, especially there's goals with his left foot, his right foot. He's doing everything for United. I can't go past it.
He's a star. Like watching him, like I have been, and some United fans say, "Oh, he's the best teenager since Rooney, like that we've had, or like this in the Premier League." And I agree. Watching the stuff he can do is just sensational. And since the restart, they was talking about like he bulked up too, so now you can't just shrug him off the ball. It's absolutely beautiful to watch him like grow and blossom. I just can't wait till another year of Martial, Rashford, and Greenwood. Oh, thank you, God.
Yeah, I think for me, Greenwood is too good to keep out of the team. Both feet, he's scoring on either one, too quality. I think for me, he's Edric Willian, who has experience. I think Greenwood.
Yeah, I agree. I'd go Greenwood as well. I think he's too good. So we'll go Greenwood in the team. And that'll wrap it up for us. Thank you for tuning in. We'll put our 11 in the comment section. And thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you soon with the Arsenal versus City preview.